Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is Tony Rizzano, and this is another episode of the world famous The University of Love, the best podcast in 1, 2, 3 galaxies. But, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we just called the show Online Marketing Moves, and we're coming to you live today. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to make a special announcement. Now, I know last week I said I was going to upload these shirts earlier in the morning, but today I got a great excuse for you, okay? This won't happen again, but this morning, me and my wife, we had to go check out a daycare for my lovely daughter, who was just turned 1, and I didn't realize that it was today, and my wife said, we got to go to this daycare, so I had to get dressed up, and I had to get dressed up, and wife, she put on a nice dress, and daughter put on a nice dress, and we went down here to this daycare place. It's like a daycare / kind of school, you know, and those things ain't cheap. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be doing double the podcast. I'll be doing double the podcast because, daycare ain't cheap, okay? Especially when you're trying to do daycare in school. It's gonna cost you. It's gonna cost you, but it'll be worth it because the thing about now is, you know, you want to have your children not ahead of the curve, and I don't want her to know geometry by the time she gets to kindergarten, but I would like her to know how to, read a little bit, count a little bit, I could read some when I got to kindergarten, but that's way back in the day, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Wasn't so many, it's weird. It's weird with me because I don't want my daughter to grow up watching a lot of TV, and the first year, I tried not to give her meat, And not that there's nothing wrong with meat. I mean, I think you should eat as less meat as possible. Beans. You should eat beans and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, like chicken and pork, especially if you like me and you like to put salt on stuff, because chicken is already kind of salty, and if you just put more salt on it, it's just it's a disaster waiting to happen. You know what I mean? So if you can avoid more fruit and vegetable kids and less meat, but so I don't want my daughter eating a whole bunch of meat because I don't want her to be dependent on meat. And so it's the same as this whole education thing. I want my daughter to go into kindergarten knowing some things. You know what I mean? I want her to, be right there so she can pick up on things, and the more you put them in a kind of environment of like school and stuff like that, the faster they can learn, the faster they can pick up on things, the better off they'll be. I want them to be more of a sponge, and of course, old Pappy's gonna teach her things at home, but and plus I want her to interact with children, because at home it's just me, my wife, and my mother-in-law. It's 3 adults. I'm 40 going on 60, you know what I mean? As far as language, as far as TV watching, you know what I mean? I watch Andy Griffith, I watch Leave It to Beaver. I'm watching stuff from 1950s, okay? So my daughter's not gonna be up to speed sometimes with me, I mean, I read a lot of books, but as far as my TV watching, because if she's like, when she gets in high school, she'll be like, Dad, I'm watching blah blah blah, and I'll be like, you don't watch this episode of Seinfeld still? She'll be like, Seinfeld. So I just want her to be around kids her age, her speed, so she can make some friends and whatnot, because I don't know if me and my wife's gonna have another baby, so siblings I don't know about. She has cousins, but like my brother's children are, one's 21, the other one's like No, one's 22 and the other one's like 20. So those are her cousins. It's not a lot. 20-year-old talking to a 1-year-old. These days, that's not gonna. He's old enough to be her. He's old enough to be her uncle. Old enough to be her dad almost. If he was a high school father, I guess. But anyway, it was interesting. It was quite the journey. Looking around at all that stuff today, but I was just thinking I got more work to do. You know what I mean? But hey, it is what it is. And how was your weekend? Me, I spent a lot of time this weekend thinking about how to really start attacking. You know what I mean? Because when you get to a certain point in this podcast, like I'm 2 years, 3 years, however long it's been now, I can't keep up, but I'm at the point right now. I'm like, all right, I know I have a podcast. I have that established. Like it's solid. It's pretty good. We can always make it better. We can always improve. And I have a audience. Not the biggest audience in the world. We all know that, but and now it's like, how do we make this? How do we get this thing to grow? How do we get a bigger audience? How do we get How do we get more revenue going on into the podcast? How do we get more ad revenue? You know what I mean? Like, you start thinking about things like that. So I started writing down a bunch of things and how I'm going to do this, how I'm going to do that. And it's like, all right. The thing that would help a lot is actually my daughter going to daycare. Because as I told you before, children are the greatest distraction that you can have, Not that they're, listen, like I tell my friend, you volunteer to have children, I'll volunteer to have a child. And don't get me wrong, it's beautiful. The first year has been one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had, watching the baby grow from a little baby, can't really move, always depending on you to, now she can climb up, she's walking a little bit, talking a little bit, she has a little bit of independence, she's feeding herself more, the only thing that my daughter does not want to do is go to bed by herself. But other than that, she's gotten a lot more independence, and it's kind of nice to sit there and watch her grow, And for the last year, I've done that, and we spent a lot of time together. We have a lot of bonding, you know what I mean? But now it's like, all right, now let's fully get back to it, And you just want to go from a 0 to 100, but I realize, you can't go from 0 to 100. So you have to figure out, which direction do you want to head into? How many more podcasts would you like to do? You like, what's your goal? You start off with a few months goals, then you start off with, hey, what I want to be in 12 months, what do I want to be in 2 years, 3 years, So I did a lot of that this weekend, and it was cool. And I just want to ask you a question. Are you writing down where do you want to be in 6 months? Where do you want to be in 12 months? What do you like, what's the end goal? What's the plan? What are you seeing for yourself? What do you see yourself at? How are you going to make that happen? Because don't worry about money. Like, money is there. You just have to make yourself. You just have to do more. The more you do, I'm not saying you have to work 24 hours a day, but I mean, the more that you can, the better you market yourself, the more money you can make. I know this, you know this. It's not about, oh man, if I just keep working hard, because everybody works hard. We all work hard. You work hard, I work hard, That's not the thing. The thing is, how do you position yourself into a spot where it's like, all right, you can charge this amount, you can charge that amount? Because I have this thing in my office, and it says, I read this book. I highly recommend this book from Dan Kennedy. It's about time. It's about managing time, And it talks about how much would you like to make an hour. and you write a number down. I'll tell you the number I wrote down. I wrote down $255 an hour. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I wrote down $255 an hour. Why? Because that is what I want to make an hour. You know, like if I want to eventually start going to speaking engagements, and you want to position yourself in a way to where you can make money. You know what I mean? Where you can make a lot of money on command, not just oh man, I hope I can do this or I hope I can do that. No, you want to get into a position where you say speaking engagement, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. You can do that because there's, as I talked about before, I probably talked about it all the time. There's so much. The world is so big and it's so vast out there, and there's so many ways you can go. There's so many things that you could be an expert at. There's so many things that you can do that you can make money. You don't have to be an expert at everything. You don't have to know everything. You just have to know one thing, and you can maximize that and crush it. You know what I mean? Like I thought about this truck driving thing, and before I was just gonna shun it. Like just say that the heck with it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, no, I've been a truck driver for 16 years. I have a vast knowledge of truck driving. So it's like, why not take advantage of that? Why not keep going? Not keep going with the trucking. I don't want to drive too much anymore. I'm gonna try to buy me a truck in the next month or so, and probably drive maybe 6 more months. And then, lease it out to somebody else, lease it out to somebody else and go into a partnership, and then they drive, and then I, start collecting some bucks. But then I was thinking, like, why not take the information that I've learned over my 16 years of trucking and, like write a book, sell a book, start doing speaking engagements in trucking, Not that I want to keep, and that way, instead of me driving and not making, I can start to work on the $255 an hour. You know what I mean? And so if there's something that you're good at, there's something that you've worked at, it does not matter whether you like it or not. It does not matter. Do not throw the baby out with the bath. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Do not be so blindsided to the fact that, hey man, if you've been in a career for 5 years, a year, 5 years, 10 years, does not matter. Take what you can get out of that. You might not want to do it no more, and that's fine. But take the information that you learned and put it into some information products. Because information is power, and information marketing is always gonna make you some money. It's always gonna make you some bucks, and that way, no matter what else you try to do, there's always something you can fall back on. You can say, hey man, let's say you want to become a full-time investor. Okay, you want to start investing in Bitcoin all the time. That's what you want to do. But you're an accountant right now, and you've been an accountant for 5 years, Start writing down things that you learn about accounting. Start writing down some stories, and start saying, hey man, maybe I could turn this into a book. Maybe I could turn this into a podcast. Maybe I could turn this into a YouTube channel. Whatever. Just start generating money, and from the things that you know already. And once you start doing that, and you can start turning some profit, then you can start saying, hey man, what now I can do. Now I can do what I want to do. Because the hardest thing, honestly, is sometimes it's just you've been in something so long, it's hard to just leave. It's like it's hard to walk away, but it's like there are ways you can do it. You build a base. Build a base. If you can build a base, you can always have something to come back to. In informational products, people love information. People love to know different things. People love to know different genres. Like I was looking at Udemy today, Udemy, about freight brokering, and a guy was selling the course for $199. And I thought, man, if let's say 10 people sign up in let's say 10 people sign up for your freight broking course, over a period of a couple months, that's like over $1,000, Let's say you get 10 people a month. They sign up for the freight broking course. That's like $2,000, And 12 months, that's $24,000. That's it ain't gonna make you rich, but it's better than And that's just you made a course one time, you put it up on the Udemy, people find it, $24,000, in a year. It's pretty good. That's pretty good change, You can take that $24,000 and do whatever you want to with it, Whether you want to put it in your house, you want to get you another car, or whatever, whatever you want to do, that's it's a good idea, So don't throw the information that you have learned over the years. Do not throw it away, Do not shun your profession, whatever that might be, just because you want to do something different, You can always take the knowledge that you learn and apply it. You know what I mean? So don't be like me. I almost said the heck with it, and just got rid of the whole 16 years. But then when I was thinking, for the last month I've been thinking, I'm like, why would I want to do that? That was it's naive on my part, and it's just kind of like, I don't want to do that. That's kind of dumb, And it's like, I've learned all this information. I got all this knowledge. Why not apply it, And why not try to get some speaking engagements, Why not market myself as a truck driving expert? I've been doing it for so long, And there's not many people these days driving trucks for 16 years. So, hey, it is what it is. So take the information that you have learned over the years and apply it, put it into some information marketing, Information, being an information marketer is we all should be that, because we all have information we want to give out, Let's say about fish. I have a friend, he goes on YouTube and studies fish videos, okay? And I always ask him, people's into this? He goes, this is business, my man, okay? A lot of people want to know about fish, and I'm like, that's cool. I don't care about fish, but hey, if you do, you watch all these videos, that's cool too, man. So right now, somebody's making money off fish. Somebody's making money on knowing cats. Somebody's making money off knowing plants. Somebody's making money off knowing, Dodge Chargers. Somebody's making money off movie theater knowledge, I remember that I saw a guy, he created a course about driving Lyft. He made a course, started a blog about driving Lyft. So the information game is vast. It's wide, it's big. Go out there, grab your information. And ladies and gentlemen, because it's not about working hard. It's about putting that brain of yours to use and trying to extract as much as you can so you can make money in the best way possible. Because you don't always want to break your back. Listen, I've worked a lot of labor-intensive jobs. They don't pay well, you know what I mean? I worked at a chicken plant. Let me tell you something. I worked at a chicken plant, made $8 an hour back in the day. I worked at a grocery store, I made like $4. I flipped hamburgers, I probably made $5. I worked security, didn't make a whole lot of money. There's a lot of jobs that I worked very hard at, and I didn't make a lot of money. So to take the knowledge that you've learned and to be able to make a boatload of money, and you don't have to work that hard, hey man, okay? And I hope everybody listening to this podcast can get to that situation, because I know I am, and I want you to too. Okay? So ladies and gentlemen, that is it. I am sorry I've uploaded this so late, but tomorrow I'll make sure that the podcast is uploaded in the morning or the mid-afternoon before the evening, okay? But I love you. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back tomorrow with the all-new episode of Online Marketing Moves. But until then, my name is Tony Rizzano. Thank you for listening, and as always, everybody, peace.